Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review The Bubble. And let's just think about this. On the same weekend, Netflix releases a new film from Richard Linklater and Judd Apatow, and you're like, this should be a pretty big deal. And got to watch the one, Apollo 10.5 of Richard Linklater, and really enjoyed it. And I had heard nothing about this Apatow film, The Bubble, and then I could see why. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But this story is an interesting setup of a group of actors who are starring in this big dinosaur franchise, who are all shamelessly coming back for another sequel, except it's a pandemic, so they have to quarantine, and they have to film in a bubble and only interact with each other. And you have this whole entire setup, and it's dealing with, issues in filmmaking when it had to do with the pandemic and just in general pandemic life. And it's like, okay, there's a lot of possibilities here. There's a lot of ideas. And this movie, which is a little over 2 hours, which feels way too long for what this movie's trying to do, but, that's Judd Apatow. This film was so frustrating and so annoying in the way that it just played out. And I have to read something to you. Here's all the cast. Karen Gillan, Irish Apatow, Pedro Pascal, Leslie Mann, David Duchovny, Keegan-Michael Fred Armisen, Samson Ko, and there's a lot of talent in this film. And then everyone is just completely wasted. This movie feels like it was thrown together in 5 minutes. The cinematography is flat. The editing is atrocious and choppy and just so willy-nilly, just let's cut to the next scene and things thrown together. This feels so lazily written because this film is so unfunny. I don't think I really laughed at anything or barely anything in this film. And how's that possible this is from Judd Apatow. He's made some of the best comedies in modern cinema in the 21st century. This is the man who made 40-Year-Old Virgin. And you're sitting here watching this just being like, what is this? He made Knocked Up. And everybody in this film is so unlikable and uninteresting and just a hot mess. And I just feel terrible for these actors who are really committed to it. Because there's some really talented actors in this film. It's just so lowbrow and so just lazy in terms of what it's trying to do and the jokes it's trying to make. There's so many low-hanging fruit. It has a very lazy commentary on filmmaking in the pandemic. There's plenty of other films, too many films that are trying to take on the pandemic at this point. And this just feels like nothing fresh or interesting is being said. And you have a moment where it's just like people are absolutely sick trying to film a scene on bungees, on strings, climbing up a side of a mountain, and people fall asleep and then throw up on each other's faces because it just falls down, and you're just like, well, this is where this film is going. And that's the thing. How did this get made? This was such a hot mess and so disappointing because it had so much potential and it squandered all of it. So yeah, I'm not a fan of this. Don't think this is really worth watching. But if this is still intriguing you, this concept, this idea, and you want to give it a try, it's right there on Netflix. But those are my thoughts on The Bubble. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.